Hi, welcome to the lesson. This is lesson 19. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you've been practicing hard and you've been working on your power chords in the last few lessons. We're going to continue on in this lesson, and this is really helping us learn how to rock and roll a little bit. As you can see at the beginning of this lesson, I was rocking out a little bit with today's lesson. That was fun. Okay, so let's just review a little bit about what we covered last lesson so we can build on it in this lesson. So we took our basic bar chord shapes, just a few shapes really, this one right here, this one, and this one right here, and we made those power chords by simply reducing and taking out some of the extra notes on the top and just playing the bottom root in fifth, and that becomes a more lower, kind of less sophisticated chord because it's not really a full triad, but it became a powerful chord for us. So we have this one from this chord, this one from this major triad, and this one from this major triad. So we can kind of play around with those in our next example and put those all together. The only thing you really have to get good at is seeing the roots on your on your sixth string and your fifth string and even your fourth string. Okay? So I'm making you move around a little bit, starting in A and using this basic movement here of C, G, and A to get you going. And then every time I go through the repeats, I move to the next line, and then I move up one more position to get another power chord. So we're still using the same basic two shapes, but I'm just getting your accuracy dialed in here, practicing moving over and around the different positions of the power chord. So let's take a listen to that for a minute, and let's see what this would sound like. Okay? It's going to be like this, actually. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oop, what's a power chord without some distortion? That's a power chord right there. Let's try it now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next line right there. Last line. Okay, so you probably notice when I'm playing this, I'm trying to create space in between each of the chords, okay? And I'm doing this by literally just muting the strings and not allowing anything to buzz or make noise in between the rest, because that's really critical when you're playing with a lot of distortion and a lot of power and volume, to not let your amp and your equipment rattle and buzz, because that destroys the effect a little bit of the silence. That's what we're trying to go for. So listen. See how I rest my hand on the strings after that? I don't just go like this. Right? Even that technique. See, you can hear the strings ring a little bit even if I just release my grip. So I do more than that. I choke them back here. All right, so that I have a real defined rest. So now it sounds like this. Okay, so you're trying to really make that your technique master the art of keeping silence where silence is supposed to be by using muting on your right hand and even to some extent your left hand, because when I pick up my fingers and that creates a rest on the string, so they're dead. But that's really important to do. Okay, so let's do that together one more time here in this example. Each repeat is twice. Here we go. Really try to make those silences happen. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Last one. Okay, so you got to be careful. Even when you're sliding around the chords, you can create some noise, right? You've probably heard my fingers, right? That noise right there is really, listen to how much louder it is without my distortion on. It's quite a bit softer, right? But when you put a little bit of distortion, it just comes alive. So you have to really be careful of how loud that noise comes through. So 2, 3, 4. See, if I'm careful, I can still mute all the way to the end as I pick up my fingers and then just unmute it. I can almost make it perfectly silenced. Okay, just a little bit, but when you hear the drums, you really don't notice it as much. Okay, so that's a very important part of power chord technique. They're not sophisticated chords in terms of what you play with your left hand, but they do require a certain amount of control technique to keep them really controlled and without sounding too muddy. Okay, so you can also play this exercise with some of the open string power chords we talked about. So we could play the A instead of being here, we could play right here. Listen to the difference in the power. A little bit more sustained with the open string. It might be a little harder to do that because see how I have to keep getting back to that G? So the way I might handle that is I might just play the G as a root and not a full chord. I might go like this. That way I can just slip right into the A chord. If I go to the D chord, I can still do it. And finally, the last one. So sometimes you just can find ways to imply a chord by just playing the bass note. That's another way to do it. Okay? So that's pretty cool. Let's try it one more time, and then we're going to play through another progression. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4.